So in this video, we're going to be covering everything about risk management. Risk management is up there with psychology and being the most important thing in this business. Okay, if there's a holy grail, it's risk management. Point blank, period. Risk management is king. Okay, why is it king? Well, risk management is what keeps you in the game. It's what keeps you trading. It's what keeps you learning. It's what keeps you around. The longer you stay around, the more you're gonna learn. The more you're gonna learn. The more you're gonna learn about yourself. The more you're gonna progress. Right? Risk management is crucial to your longevity in this business. Okay. I don't care how high your win rate is. I don't care how powerful your strategy is. I don't care how much you know. Okay. You could have a success rate of, you could win 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, but guess what, guys? That one time you ain't right, that one time it doesn't go in your favor, that one time can end your career. That one time. That's why risk management is important. Okay. So let's talk about it. We're going to cover everything. It should only take me one video to cover everything I want with this specific topic. I know. Nobody likes to paper trade. I get it, guys. I get it. But it's important. Okay. Some of you already giving me the excuse. You're already saying to yourself, okay, I'm not paper trading. So what's next? Well, and you're saying to yourself, I know what you're saying to yourself. Okay, paper trading, it's not useful because it's not real money. Therefore, no real emotions. That's a cop out. Like that's an excuse for people to, it's just an excuse basically. Like people are looking for that way out. That excuse that I just gave you, that translates to, I want to make money right now. I want to get rich quick. I want success overnight. I'm not willing to focus on the process. I'm focused only on the money. Therefore, I'm not paper trading. You might not want to accept it, but that's what it is. That's what it is. All right. Because guess what? I promise you guys, paper trading is useful. There's a lot of value in paper trading. Not only does it allow you to find a strategy that suits you in a risk-free environment, it also allows you to get used to your trading platform so you don't make silly mistakes when you go live. It also allows you to forward test to collect data in a risk-free environment. It's like there's not that stress that's weighing on. You're able to collect data. You're able to do all this. You're able to find a strategy, a arena that is, it's not stressful for you. It's not stressful. You're able to collect that data. You're able to do a lot while paper trading. But people don't talk about that. They don't think about that. It's very, very useful. I get it. There's not the money component. You'll get to that later on. You got to take it one step at a time, one bite at a time. Like you got to go slow, guys. You got to take it very, very slow. And that is exactly why most people blow up their accounts. They rush it. They get in premature because like everybody, like, you know, clock's ticking. You want to reach your goals now. Like you have, and 6 months paper trading, just like that's 6 months. You're not making that's 6 month guaranteed you're not making any money in that 6 months because it's not real money. And that's just unacceptable to some people. Like they're a beginner, but if they get in with real money, they have the possibility of making money right now. And what they do, they rush it. And guess what? Rushing it has the opposite effect of what you're looking for. Rushing it has the opposite effect. Rushing it has the opposite effect of what you're looking for. Okay, that is how you blow up accounts. That is how you endure drawdowns that you're not comfortable with. It's due to moving too fast. You need to take it slow. Slow and steady wins the race every single time in regards to trading. Every single time. If you take it slow, you'll hit your goals faster than if you rush it. Let me say that again. If you take it slow, you're going to hit your goals faster than if you were to rush it. I promise you that's the case. Okay. One piece at a time. I've paper traded as well. So my first year, I blew up my account. So I funded my account with $2,000 that I saved from my job. It took me a while just to save that, just to have enough money, just to have a little $2,000 account. It took me a while to be able to save that money. And you know what I did? I rushed the process. I went into the market when I wasn't ready because, well, like a lot of people, I wanted to start making money now. I was in a rush. And you know what the result of that was? I blew up my account. It didn't take me long. I blew up that account. Like it was like in a blink of an eye. It was gone. And I was sitting there with an empty account, just staring at that empty account in pain. $2,000 to some of you, it might seem like nothing, but like I didn't have much money. I didn't have much money back then, and that was a lot of money for me. It took me a long time to save it, and I was sitting there in pain, and I reached out to one of my mentors. You know what my mentor told me? The same exact thing I'm telling you right now. Slow down. Slow down. And then he recommended that I paper trade for a while until I actually proved that I could carve a profit out of the market. You think I wanted the paper trade, guys? You think I wanted to go do that? Just like you, I want to make money. Like, and that's 6 months, I'm not making any money. Like it was hard for me to get myself to do that, but I knew I had to. And also it was a punishment for letting myself get out of control like that, revenge trading like that. I didn't want to paper trade, guys. Nobody wants to paper trade. If you do, or maybe some people do, but it's rare. Like nobody wants to do it. But I'm telling you, there's a lot of value in that. And then once I got that 6 months consistent profitability, I'm telling you, when I got back into the marketplace and I funded my account, once I funded my account with $2,000 again, when I got back into the market with live money, I was so much more confident in my abilities because I had a strategy during that 6 month period that I was executing on, seeing the same thing day in, day out. I learned how to manage risk. I learned how to operate the platform better. Like it was such a better, I had just so much more confidence next time I got into the live market just because I paper traded. So it's useful, guys. I'm telling you, it's useful. That's what you need to do next. And now let's say, after you got 6 months consistent profitability under your belt, you've collected data. We'll go into the data collection here in a second and why that's important for risk management, because I know some of you are scratching your head on that. Like, why do I collect data? What's that have to do with risk management? Well, it's important when it comes time to scaling up. If you want to scale up your size, that's where it's important. But we'll go into that here in a second. But let's say you got the 6 month consistent profitability under your belt now. So you've proven that you can carve a profit. Now, when I say 6 months consistent profitability, guys, I don't mean that you're knocking it out of the park all 6 months. I don't even mean that you're profitable on all 6 months. That's not what I mean. You might have a drawdown, or let me correct myself. You're going to have drawdowns. You might even have a red month in there or 2 red months in there. Like, that's fine. What I mean when I say 6 months consistent profitability is I mean that you hold your own, that you come out on top, that you come out profitable out of that 6 month period, that you're green more times than not, more months than not. That's what I mean by that when I say consistent profitability. Once you do that, you think you're ready, you're comfortable, and only you know when you're comfortable. Only you know when you're ready to step into the market with a lot of money again. I can't tell you when to do that. That's on you. If you're not comfortable after 6 months, keep paper trading. Keep paper trading. Don't rush it. Only go into the market with a lot of money once you are 110% certain. You're so comfortable with your strategy. You have a firm grasp on risk management. You know how to scale up. That's when you go live. Okay. Now, once you go live, once you step into the live market, you fund your account, and now it's game time. It's game time now. You in the game for real. Do not risk more than 0.5%. I did not say 5%. I said 0.5%, half of 1%. Do not risk more than that. Okay. Now, I would also want to make clear that this advice I'm giving you, like the paper trade and all this, is more tailored to beginners that are not seeing any profits, that have no consistency, that are just struggling. Okay, because I know I got some advanced traders in here as well that are doing okay. This isn't advice for advanced traders, obviously. Like traders that kind of know what they're doing, they have a strategy they're comfortable with, and they're making strides and progress, they're consistently profiting. Obviously, this isn't something you need to do. This is advice for beginner traders who, or not even beginner traders, just traders who are struggling, who are not consistently profitable, who don't have a clear strategy, who are just, they can't make anything happen. They're consistently messing it up, consistently losing money. This is for those traders. Okay, so I want to make that clear as well. I'm not saying everybody do this. It's for a specific group of people. But yeah, so after 6 months consistent profitability and you go into the market, you shouldn't be losing more than 0.5% of your money. Okay, I know some of you see me risking like 2%. That's what I do at the moment that I'm making this video. I risk 2% on a trade. And you think, Mike's doing it, let me go do it. We are not at the same level in our trading careers. That's not me trying to put you down. It's just, that's just the reality of it. Okay, I started small just like you, so don't believe for a second that I'm trying to talk down you saying you can't handle 2% like me. That's not what it is. It's just like you're at a different journey. When I was a beginner, I didn't start off like I wasn't, like I had to start small just like you guys. That's part of the process. It's part of the journey. So you got to take it one step at a time. Don't risk 2%. Why don't risk 2% though? Because you're not going to be able to, chances are for most, you're not going to be able to psychologically handle it. You're not going to be able to psychologically handle 2% risk. You think you can, maybe right now when you're watching this video, when you're not in the market environment, when that money's not tugging at you. But guess what? When you're in the game for real and you take one loss, all right, might be good after one loss. Okay, I'm feeling good. Still feeling good. Two loss. Okay, two losses. We're going to need a win here pretty soon, but I'm still good. Three losses. Uh-oh, you're starting to sweat. Uh-oh, you're starting to shake a little bit. Okay, I really need this next one. Four losses. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, we're in trouble, right? It's gonna start weighing on you. It's not gonna take much with 2% risk. I'm telling you, that's the truth. For the 99% of the people watching this, you're not gonna be able to psychologically handle that risk. Okay, it takes some time to build up to. You got to build up to that. Okay, and I'm gonna teach you how to do that as well in this video. How to scale up to that 2%. Now that's optional. I want to make that clear, guys. That is 100% optional. You don't have to risk 2%. You don't got to go higher than 1% risk. You don't got to go higher than 0.5% risk, what you get into the market with. It's 100% optional. Okay. I just know most of you that are watching it, eventually you're going to want to at least work up to 1%, or many of you also want to work up to 2%. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's a process that you work up to. You got to build that cushion. You got to build that experience. It's not going to happen overnight. So you got to exercise some patience. But yeah, I'm going to give you a solution to do that in an effective manner. So you're going to track data on Google Excel. This is during the paper trading period. So why is this important though? You might be thinking, okay, well, this makes no sense. Why are we tracking data? We're talking about risk management here. Tracking data is important when it comes time to scaling up, that trading size. Now, because here's a common scenario that I've seen with many traders. And I'm sure many of you watching this are going to be able to relate to this. You're super consistent. You're making money on a consistent basis. You feel so good about your strategy. You're racking up a win here, win there. You're doing so good. You're on cloud nine, and you decide. You make that decision. I'm ready to scale up. I am so comfortable with my strategy. I'm feeling good. I know what I'm doing now. I want to scale up my trading size. You decide to make that leap. The second that you decide to make that leap, that you up that size, it's like the markets are conspiring against you. Like the second you do that, market goes to crap. Your setups just, none of them work. It's like one after another, L. I mean, one after another. It's like the market's out to get you. All right, I know a lot of you can relate to that. I can relate to that as well. Like you got to prepare for it. Now, why does this happen though? Like why does well, timing is one. Sometimes it's just, for a lot of times it's just timing. Like the second you decide to scale up, like that's just how life goes. I mean, the second you decide to scale up, it's just your timing's off. But also another component to it is when you're scaling up size and you're entering unfamiliar territory and you're trading size you're not used to. It brings in, like it heightens your emotions basically. So you have more emotions coming to your trading because it's just not a territory you're familiar with, and you got to get used to it. And when you do that, what comes with that typically is you take sloppier trades. You might be more lenient with your rules. You might not realize it in the moment when you're doing it, but I think if you really go back and observe your trading during that scaling up period, for a lot of you, you would realize you're not trading exactly the same as you did when you were trading small size. Okay, if you are, then it's likely just a timing and you didn't prepare for a drawdown. But a lot of you as well, I think you're not trading the way you thought you were because your emotions are heightened and you're just trading sloppier. So you got to prepare for that as well. So you got to prepare for drawdown. That's what we do with data. That's why we track data, because we want to prepare for that drawdown, that inevitable drawdown that happens. You want to prepare for it. So that's why we build a cushion before we scale up. Okay, that's how you psychologically handle it. So what type of cushion do we build? Well, you need to look at your max drawdown during that 6-month period. Okay, so when deciding to scale up, look at your spreadsheet and see how much your max losing streak was. Your cushion that you built trading 0.5% needs to cover that once you go up to 1%. Okay, so you need to build a big enough cushion with 0.5%. that when you scale up to 1%, that drawdown that you tracked in your spreadsheet, Risking 1%, you could endure that max drawdown that you had in your spreadsheet, and it still wouldn't erase all your profits. That's what I mean when I say build a cushion. So here's an example I'm going to show you real quick right here. So this is just like you can mess around with it, kind of name it what you want, but this is basically the gist of it. So I got month, wins, losses, R made, R loss, total, R max, drawdown. We're not really worried about all this stuff to the left. We'll go over that more in the psychology lessons, because tracking data is essential to building strong psychology as well. And then you'll have like all your month right here. So it's June right now. So June, July, August, September, you get the gist. You'll have your 6 months in here, right? And you'll be tracking data for all 6 of those months. And during those 6 months, you also want to know like the max drawdown on your account. Okay, so like during that 6 month period, what was the max amount of money? Like how far down did your account go? How much of your account value did you lose max? Like what was the farthest down your account, like losing streak you endured? Like 3%, 6%, 8%. That's what you need to track in there. During that 6 month period, you need to keep track of that. Okay, like for example, 5%. Like it might not be consecutive L's, like losing one after another and then it comes out to 5%. You might have a win and then you might have a few L's that bring you in the red. You might have another win, then you might have another long string of L's, and then it's just like a slow process of losing money on the account. And then say you recoup it and you're back in the green. Like you want to track that max drawdown, basically is what I'm saying, what I'm getting at. Okay, and what you're going to do is when you go into a live market, because this is all, remember, all this is done in paper trading during that 6 month period. You're finding that data. So you're prepared. This gives you that confidence when you go into a live market that nobody talks about. And you're preparing for that inevitable drawdown that's going to happen. Okay? You got to prepare for it, but you got to prepare for the worst. So you want to build that cushion. Okay? This allows you to know how much of a cushion you need to build because you got that data, and data gives you that. It allows you to prepare. It gives you confidence. Okay. So you got to build that cushion, find the max drawdown. And then once you enter the market for real and you're risking 0.5%, you're going to build a big enough cushion. So whenever you go up to 1%, that max drawdown that you tracked, like 5%, for example, you've built a big enough cushion to withstand that. So with 0.5%, if our max drawdown is 5%, and we know we want to scale up to 1% next, before we scale up to 1%, so I think it'll be easier if I explain it on here. Let's say we fund an account with $2,000. I'm going to write that on there. So we got a $2,000 account. We're getting into the live market now. Okay, so imagine with me. We funded with $2,000. We're risking 0.5%, right? We know we need to build a cushion if we want to scale up to 1%. So what's 0.5% of 2,000? 10. So like say you take a $10, that's your first trade on the account. You're risking 0.5, you're risking 0.5% of 2,000. You take a $10 loss. It's 0.5%. Okay. Now you got to keep in mind, whenever you're doing this, guys, whenever you're trading, it's going to adjust. Like for example, you're not just going to keep your risk at $10, $10, $10 L, $10 L, $10 L, $10 L. You don't do that. You need to adjust it with the account value. So you start off with 2,000, but after you take a $10 L, your account's no longer at 2,000, right? It's at 1,990. So now it's no longer 0.5% of 2,000. It's 0.5% of 1,990. You gotta adjust with the account. Okay. So you take another L. That would be a what? $9.95 L, because we're adjusting with the account, remember. Okay. And you're gonna keep adjusting with the account. And it's the same whenever your account value grows. When your account value goes up, you'll just adjust it with that as well. Like if it's like 2010, it'll be 0.5% of 2010. And then, so on and so forth, right? So that's kind of what it would look like. It's like say you took 5 L's in a row. Like you start with 2,000, $10 L, 995, 990, 985, 980. So you're adjusting with an account. And then after that, after like 5 L's, for example, how big of a loss would that be on the account after 5 L's? It would be 1,950. So now your account value is at 1,950. Okay. So like this is just an example, but like say during your max drawdown period, Oh, and also like during your drawdown period that you track in your data, like your account may be in the positive when it's happened as well. Like say you've already accumulated some profits, but then your max drawdown was like 2.5% L, like total max drawdown total. So you got to account for this whenever you go into a live market or whenever you are trying to scale up. So if we know like this is our max drawdown, for example, if we were to go up to 1%, so like say for example the account is at 2,000 and we're going up to like 1%. Like say you started with a lower account balance and now you're at 2,000, you're trying to scale up to 1%. All right. So like, for example, here is a representation of like risking 0.5%. Look at my cursor, look where it's moving. And then this is a representation of 1%. So like $20 L, 1980, 1960, 1940, 1920. All right, that's risking 1% on that $2,000 account. So if we're deciding that we want to scale up now, and we're deciding that we want to go to 1% risk, how much of a cushion do you think we need to build? Is 5 enough? Like 5 consecutive wins like this, for example, enough to cover 5 consecutive wins with 1%? Is that enough of a cushion? Is that enough of a cushion for this, for example? That wouldn't cover it, right? If you were to take 5 L's with risking 1%, notice how it erodes that profit completely and doubles your L. So we would want to need what on that 2,000? We would need how many wins risking 0.5% to cover 1%? We would need 10. See that? So we would need 10 wins. I know I'm using like we used the example earlier with drawdown, but just kind of reverse it to the opposing direction. Like you would need 10 wins on a $2,000 account. So again, just imagine that you made money on that $2,000 account. You built that cushion. You would need 10 wins to cover 5 L's, risking 1%. Makes sense? You would need 10 wins on that $2,000 account, risking 0.5% to cover 5 L's, risking 1%. So I mean, just basic math. You would need to build that. That's what you would need to build that cushion. That's how much you would need to build that cushion to withstand that. Now, I recommend building more. Okay, I recommend building more just to have that so you're comfortable with it. I recommend actually doubling it. So like 20 wins. So if we know our max drawdown, it's going to be that 5 during that 6-month period that we track data. I recommend getting like 20 wins under your belt, 20 wins under your belt with 0.5%, just so you're completely comfortable. You're in a completely good headspace. You're comfortable scaling up to 1%. Okay. Because then at that point, it would take 10 L's risking 1% to erode those profits, which is double your drawdown amount. See what I'm getting at here? You got to build that cushion. I think you guys get the point of what I mean by this. It's just you got to build that cushion and you got to double it up. You got to double up the amount. Okay, so that's how you do it. That's how you scale up successfully, guys. You got to be prepared. You got to prepare accordingly, because most people, that's where they fall off. That's where they fall off, and that's where they spiral out of control, because they don't prepare. Preparation is key. Let me say that again. I want you to write it down if you need to remember it. Say it 100,000 times in your head. Do whatever you got to do. Preparation is key. Preparation is key. You got to prepare for this stuff. Okay, when you prepare for it, you're more confident whenever it happens, because you know what to do. You know how to handle it. And then you're just going to repeat that same exact process from when you go from like 1% to 2%. You're going to do the same exact process that you did here. You're going to build that cushion with 1%. Okay, you're going to build that cushion. Once you got a big enough cushion, again, refer back to your data to know how much of a cushion you need to build. And then you're going to go to 2% if you want to, only if you want to. And then I wouldn't go higher than 2%. There's just no need to go higher than 2%. At that point, higher than 2%, you're getting kind of wild with that. But 2%, that's how you make the process of working your way up to 2%. And then before you know it, guys, I mean, it ain't really going to take that long to work your way up to that point. It ain't going to take as long as you think it will. Like it's not that long of a process. It does require some patience, but you can work your way up there. It's a pretty straightforward process of doing it, just by building that cushion, by building that experience. And then over time, you're going to get accustomed. Your psychology, you're going to get accustomed to handling that size, because you took your time, you took it slow, and you slowly built that cushion along the way. That cushion makes it so much easier on your psychology. That is how you do it effectively. You don't just jump in risking 2%, because again, psychologically, it's going to be hard to handle. Okay. You need to work your way up and build that cushion. That cushion is key. And then before you know it, you're just trading 2% and you're comfortable. Okay, so we talked about personal accounts, but prop firms, you got to understand if you're going the prop firm route and you're not going the personal account route, which I know many of you are going the prop firm route, you can't treat it like a personal account exactly. Well, like you can, but you have to lower size down a lot. So what do I mean by that? Well, say for example, you go buy a $50,000 prop firm account, right? You buy a $50,000 prop firm account. Now, you don't have $50,000 to lose is what I'm getting at. You don't have $50,000 to lose on that prop firm account. Because prop firms, they have something called like max drawdown. They have a max drawdown point. So for example, not every prop firm is the same, but for example, let's say it's 10%. That's usually a rough estimate, or that's a rough estimate of what it kind of like the average across the board. So like 10% or 8%. So like say 10% of 50,000 is what? It's 5,000. So like, for example, that would be the max drawdown that you can endure. If you endured more than 5,000, for example, you would lose the account. You would blow the account. So really, if you were, it's more like you have a $5,000 account basically. So you could treat it like a personal account in a way, but you would have to trade very, very, very small and pretend like it's, for example, a $5,000 account. Okay. Like if, remember, we're talking about a $50,000 account, for example, just do the math based on whatever size of account you get. But that's what I mean by it. You can't treat it like a personal account. Like you can't. So if you're going the prop firm route, the max risk, the absolute max risk you should take is 0.5%. 0.5% should be the absolute max you should go. All right. So with the personal account, that was what I want you to start. What I wanted you to start with. With prop firms, I'm putting my foot down. Don't go higher than 0.5% on those. Okay. Don't go to 1%. Don't go to 2%. Don't do it. 0.5%. That is as high as you should go. And you don't need to go any higher. I mean, think if you were to get like funded with multiple prop firms, as you should if you're going that route. I wouldn't be dependent on one firm. But say you get funded with multiple prop firms, so you get max allocated with multiple firms. I mean, it doesn't take much, guys. Like what's like 0.5% of 1 million? Like, because most prop firms, they go higher than that on max allocation. But say you get max allocation on one firm and it's 1 million. What's 0.5% of 1 million? 5,000. 5,000. That's plenty. And think you do like a 2-to-1 or something. Like just imagine with me for a second. You do 2-to-1 and you make 1% on a trade, risking 0.5%. That's 10 grand you just banked. One trade. So like prop firm accounts, you could run them up fairly quick. So 0.5% is plenty. Don't go higher than 0.5%. You should be focused on keeping that account. Okay. And really, the lower you go, the better, actually. The lower you go on these accounts, the better. Again, if you're really, really very, very, very smart, if you're very smart, you can treat it like a personal account, but trade very small size. And like, forget the 50K, for example. Again, we're using a 50K account example here. Treat the account like the drawdown. Look at the drawdown and not the actual account. So like if you know your drawdown is like 10%, so like it's 10%, that'd be like 5,000 max loss before you blow the account. Treat the account like you got a total of $5,000 in there. That's how you treat it, like a personal account. But I know most people, they're not going to go that low on the risk. So, but that's a general, like a rule that's set in stone. Set in stone. Don't go higher than 0.5%. Don't do it. And yeah, it's still the same process. Like if you go the prop firm route, you should still be paper trading starting off if you don't have that consistency. 6 months, you're going to do the same exact process. You're going to gather all that data. You're going to know your max drawdown. And so you're going to have all that data available to you, that you're going to gather all that data during that 6 month period. You're going to get comfortable on paper, and then you're going to go in, and only if you're ready, then go in and, get a challenge. And another recommendation, whenever you do go in and you get the challenge and you're risking max 0.5%, go with a no time limit firm. There are plenty of no time limit firms. I'm not going to promote any in this video. I mean, just do your research. There are plenty out there at this point. And so go with that, because time limit firms that force you to make a certain amount within a certain period, not good for your psychology at all. Okay, that's not an effective way to be trading. I'm not a fan of time limit prop firms. Find a no time limit prop firms. That way you can trade extremely small. You can take your time. You can be patient. Wait for your setups. So that's what you need to do. Okay, and that's how you do it. That's how you manage your risks successfully with a personal account and a prop firm account.